The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Detailed. Retelling Part 1. The Extraordinary Birth. In 1860 Baltimore, Roger Button eagerly awaits the birth of his first child at the Baltimore hospital. As a prominent member of society and a successful hardware merchant, Roger expects nothing but normalcy from this blessed event. However, when he arrives at the hospital, he encounters something that defies all natural law and social convention. The family physician, Dr. Keene, approaches Roger with visible distress and reluctance. What he reveals shatters Roger's expectations entirely. His newborn baby is physically a 70-year-old man, complete with a long white beard, wrinkled skin, and all the physical characteristics of advanced age. The infant, Benjamin Button, has been born old. The hospital staff is horrified and embarrassed by this unprecedented situation. They view Benjamin as a disgrace to their institution and demand that the Button family remove him immediately. Dr. Keene is particularly harsh, suggesting that the very existence of such a child brings shame upon the hospital and everyone associated with it. Roger Button's initial reaction is one of shock, denial, and profound embarrassment. As a man deeply concerned with social standing and appearances, he finds himself in an impossible situation. How can he present this elderly-looking creature as his newborn son to Baltimore society? The social implications are staggering, and Roger's primary concern becomes damage control rather than paternal joy. The practicalities of caring for Benjamin present immediate challenges. Standard baby clothes and equipment are useless for a child with the physical dimensions and needs of an elderly man. Roger must hastily purchase adult clothing, including a cane and reading glasses to accommodate his unusual son. Even these simple acts feel absurd and deeply uncomfortable to him. Benjamin himself displays remarkable intelligence and maturity from birth, speaking in complete sentences and demonstrating knowledge far beyond what any infant should possess. This mental acuity, combined with his aged appearance, creates an unsettling paradox that troubles everyone who encounters him. He seems to be simultaneously an infant and an old man, challenging fundamental assumptions about human development and aging. The Button family's social circle reacts with a mixture of horror, fascination, and rejection. Some view Benjamin as a curiosity or freak of nature, while others see him as an embarrassment to be hidden away. Roger finds himself increasingly isolated from his peers, as the existence of his unusual son becomes a source of whispered gossip and social ostracism. Despite the challenges, Benjamin shows signs of the reverse aging process that will define his life. Even in these early days, there are subtle hints that his aging process is moving backward, though this phenomenon is not yet clearly understood by him or his family. Part 2. Growing Up in Reverse. As Benjamin Button grows chronologically older, his physical appearance paradoxically becomes younger. By age 5, he has the body of a 65-year-old man, and by 10, he appears to be in his late 50s. This reverse aging process continues steadily throughout his youth, creating a unique set of challenges and opportunities. Benjamin's education presents particular difficulties. His father enrolls him in kindergarten, but his elderly appearance and mature intellect make him completely out of place among actual children. The other students are frightened by his appearance, and teachers don't know how to handle a child who looks like their grandfather but is supposed to be learning basic skills. Eventually, Roger removes Benjamin from formal schooling, recognizing that traditional education is impossible for his son. The relationship between Benjamin and his father remains strained throughout these years. Roger continues to struggle with embarrassment over his son's condition and often treats Benjamin more like an elderly relative than his child. He frequently asks Benjamin to dye his hair darker and shave his beard to appear younger, attempts that only partially succeed and make Benjamin feel even more like an outcast. As Benjamin reaches his teenage years chronologically, his physical appearance continues to improve. By 18, he looks like a robust 50-year-old man. This transformation finally allows him some measure of social acceptance, as he can now pass as a mature adult rather than an anomaly. He begins to participate more fully in society, though always with the underlying tension of his true nature. Benjamin develops interests and relationships more appropriate to his apparent physical age than his chronological one. This creates an interesting dynamic where his life experience begins to align more closely with his physical presentation. During this period, Benjamin also begins to understand and accept his unusual condition. Rather than fighting against his reverse aging, he starts to see it as simply his reality. This acceptance allows him to develop more confidence and to form his first meaningful relationships outside his immediate family. The social dynamics of Baltimore begin to shift in Benjamin's favor as his appearance becomes more conventionally attractive. People who once shunned him now show interest, though he remains cautious about revealing his true nature. He learns to navigate social situations carefully, always aware that his secret could change how others perceive him. Benjamin's growing social acceptance also brings new opportunities. His apparent maturity and life experience, combined with his improving physical appearance, open doors that were previously closed to him. He begins to consider possibilities for his future that seemed impossible during his earlier years. Part 3. Love, War, and Prime of Life. By the time Benjamin reaches his 30s chronologically, he appears to be a handsome, vigorous man in his 30s physically. This convergence of chronological and apparent age represents the golden period of his life, when he can finally live without the constant burden of his unusual condition being immediately apparent to others. During this time, Benjamin meets and falls in love with Hildegard Moncrief, a beautiful young woman from a prominent Southern family. Hildegard is attracted to Benjamin's apparent maturity, sophistication, and distinguished appearance. She believes she is marrying an older, established man, which appeals to her desire for security and social standing. Their courtship and marriage represent Benjamin's first taste of normal, romantic love and social acceptance. Benjamin's marriage to Hildegard is initially happy and successful. He can finally experience the conventional milestones of adult life, marriage, social prominence, and business success. He becomes involved in his father's hardware business and proves to be capable and intelligent. His apparent age and maturity serve him well in business dealings, where he is taken seriously by colleagues and competitors alike. The couple has a son, Roscoe, which brings Benjamin great joy, but also new complications. As a father, Benjamin faces the unusual situation of physically growing younger while his son grows older. This creates a peculiar family dynamic that becomes more pronounced as time passes. Benjamin loves his son deeply, but struggles with the knowledge that their relationship will become increasingly unconventional. When the Spanish-American War breaks out, Benjamin, now appearing to be a vigorous man in his 20s, enlists in the military. His apparent youth and physical fitness make him an ideal soldier, and he serves with distinction. This period represents perhaps the most normal time in Benjamin's life, as he can participate fully in the masculine pursuits and camaraderie of military life without his condition being a hindrance. Benjamin's military service is successful and fulfilling. He rises through the ranks and gains respect from his fellow soldiers. The war provides him with a sense of purpose and belonging that he has rarely experienced. His courage and leadership abilities shine through, unencumbered by the social complications that have plagued other aspects of his life. However, even during this period of relative normalcy, Benjamin remains aware of his continuing reverse aging. He notices that he is becoming physically younger and more energetic, while his contemporaries show signs of normal aging. This awareness adds a bittersweet quality to his happiness, as he knows that his current state of equilibrium cannot last forever. The success of his military career and his happy marriage represent the peak of Benjamin's conventional life. He has achieved social acceptance, professional success, and personal fulfillment. Yet underneath this success lies the constant awareness that his unique condition will eventually disrupt this carefully constructed normal life. Part 4. The Reverse Journey to Youth. As Benjamin continues to age in reverse, entering what would normally be considered his middle age, the complications of his condition become increasingly apparent and disruptive to his established life. By his 40s, chronologically, he appears to be a young man in his 20s, creating awkward situations in both his personal and professional relationships. Hildegard, who married what she believed was a mature, older man, finds herself increasingly frustrated with Benjamin's transformation. As she ages naturally and he becomes younger, their relationship suffers from this unnatural reversal of the typical aging process. She feels deceived and struggles to understand how to relate to a husband who is becoming younger and more energetic, while she is following the normal path of aging. Their marriage begins to deteriorate under the strain of this impossible situation. Benjamin's relationship with his son, Roscoe, becomes even more complicated and painful. As Roscoe grows into adulthood, Benjamin appears increasingly youthful, creating a situation where father and son could easily be mistaken for brothers or even have their roles reversed entirely. Roscoe feels embarrassed by his father's unusual condition and begins to distance himself from Benjamin, unable to cope with the social awkwardness and personal discomfort it causes. Professionally, Benjamin faces new challenges as his youthful appearance undermines his authority and credibility in business. Colleagues and clients who once respected his apparent maturity now question his experience and judgment. The hardware business suffers as Benjamin struggles to maintain his position, while looking like a young man who should be starting his career rather than running an established company. As Benjamin continues to grow younger, he eventually appears to be in his teens, then as a child. This transformation forces him to withdraw from adult society entirely. He can no longer maintain his marriage, his business relationships, or his role as a father. The social structures that briefly supported him during his period of apparent normalcy completely collapse as he becomes too young in appearance to participate in adult life. During his final years, Benjamin experiences childhood again, but from a unique perspective. Having lived a full adult life, he retains memories and wisdom even as his body returns to youth and eventually infancy. This creates a poignant situation where he understands what he is losing even as he loses the ability to articulate or act upon that understanding. Benjamin's death is as unusual as his life. He passes away as an infant, but an infant with the memories and experiences of a full lifetime lived in reverse.
Which book should I retell next? Write in the comments.